All right, golfers, I want to talk about something a little bit different than I usually do on this channel. I'm usually talking about full swing and mechanics and stuff, but today I want to talk about how golfers practice and the different types of practice and how you're probably not maximizing the time you spend practicing your game. So in my mind, we've kind of got three things that we can practice when we go to a driving range or we go practice golf, right? You can practice your mechanics or your technique. That's number one. Number two is you can practice your skill development, which most people that I talk to have really no idea. Most recreational golfers don't know what that is. And then you can also practice your performance skills, okay? So we've got mechanics, skill, and performance. Let's start with mechanics because I think everyone is more familiar with that. Let's say you take a lesson and your instructor says, your elbows separate too much and you need to get them closer together. He might say, he or she might say, you need to get a ball, put it between your arms and practice that way. They are probably absolutely right that you need to practice hitting shots with that ball between your arms. But while you're doing that, what I would tell you if you came to my lesson tee is I really don't care where the golf ball goes while you do that. And here's why. Thinking and sports tend not to go great together, right? So when Steph Curry shoots a three, I doubt he's measuring, is it 34 feet, 37 feet, 31? He doesn't know how far it is, right? He's just shooting the rock. So when we play golf, I really don't want you thinking either. But also, at the same time, we've got to kind of make sure the physics of the swing or the matchups are good. And so while you have that ball between your arms, I really don't care if you hit a good shot. I really just want to see the ball stay between your arms and make your mechanics look really good. So when I train players how to do mechanics, I guess, is I really don't care where the golf ball goes. We try to separate our brain from the outcome. We try not to focus on that. We try to get really invested in the drill that we're doing or the video and how it looks and the TrackMan number, whatever it is we're working on. We try to get really invested in that, okay? But we all know someone with a beautiful swing that just doesn't shoot the scores that you would think they would, right? Their swing might look like a scratch player, but for some reason they can't break 80. Well, that's a player that I would say probably needs to practice some more skill development. And what is skill? I think skill is the ability to produce the outcome you want on the golf course with the golf ball, regardless of how it looks. So, we might all get a golf lesson and maybe the instructor puts up Adam Scott and he says, look at Adam Scott's posture and swing. That's so good. And he's exactly right. That instructor is exactly right. That swing is so good. But Adam Scott didn't win every tournament. So it must not only be about how it looks, right? Not a lot of instructors will probably teach the technique of Bubba Watson. But I think Bubba Watson is really, really skilled. He's really good at getting the ball to do exactly what he wants it to do, even if he doesn't have the mechanics, say, instructors are gonna teach. And so how do we train skill and really even digging deeper, what is it? Well, again, it's that ability to create the outcome you want, regardless of how it looks. So I like players to practice hitting their wedge numbers. I want players to know the difference between 61 yards of carry and 64 yards of carry. I want players to know how to curve it to the right, curve it to the left. I would love for players to know how to hit it high and low. I would love for players to know how to intentionally hit it just a little bit off the toe, hit it just a little bit off the heel. I think those are things that create skill in a player's game. I don't know if you guys saw the video of Bryson that went viral. He's swinging a driver like 130 mile an hour. And he barely tips the top of the ball. That's a skill. I don't think there's a lot of recreational golfers out there that are really good at that, okay? So I like to kind of have fun shaping shots and hitting numbers and developing that skill. I would also say in the short game, like reading lies is a skill. Judging how much the ball is gonna run out when it hits the green, that's a skill. Okay, so we've got mechanics, we've got some skill. We also have some performance. And so what is performance? I like to think of performance as like the ultimate test for your golf game and trying to mimic playing golf as much as possible. So when I'm having a player practice their performance, I'm really having them go through their full routine, switching clubs every time, even on the driving range, switching targets and switching consequences. So let's say the player shows up, he's got 6-iron out. We're gonna hit 6-iron at the flag that's 180 and you can't miss more than 3 steps right because there's water there. I'm gonna have that player go through their full routine, walk into the shot, set up to the ball, hit it, and then go through like a post-routine process and say, how did I do, evaluate themselves, and then decide what they need to work on moving forward. Then the very next swing, they're gonna grab their 56 degree, and they're gonna hit an 82-yard shot to that flag, but it can't go to a different flag, but it can't go long. Then they're gonna grab their driver, and they're gonna go between those two flags. Then they're gonna hit 8-iron, then they're gonna grab 52. They're gonna keep switching clubs, they're gonna keep switching targets, and they're gonna try and make their practice like as hard as possible because that's as close as we can get to real golf. Now, how do you know which one of these to practice? Typically, as we live in Minnesota, at least I do, I'll have my players practice mechanics more in the winter and then skill and performance more in the summer because that's when they're playing more. But if you have a lesson, and this is really the whole point of the videos, if you have a lesson and you're being told what to do with your mechanics. That is probably very accurate, good information. There's a lot of awesome instructors out there. Just make sure you're not trying to do all three at the same time, because that's where golf can get really, really hard. We go to a golf lesson, the instructor says, put that ball between your arms and you're going to hit it awesome. Maybe not, because our brain isn't so much focused on the task or the target. It's more focused on your elbows and not dropping the ball. And that can make our sport very, very difficult. So moral of the story, know what you're practicing when you go practice. If you're practicing mechanics, separate yourself from that outcome. There's no use in trying to hit an awesome shot while trying to do something completely different with your mechanics. It just doesn't work that way. Instead, what you should do, you should separate those three ways of practicing, and you should really try to dive into each one and learn how to switch your mindset when you go from mechanics to skill to performance. If you can put that ball between your arms and practice hitting shots, not really caring where they go, you're going to get that skill or that mechanic down of the ball not dropping much faster than you were if you're trying to hit a high draw right to the flag, right out of the center of the face, while also not dropping the ball. It just gets so much harder. Then after you've practiced that for 15 or 20 minutes, it's probably time to forget about it and work on the skill development and work on the random practice, the performance practice that I was talking about. So next time you go to the range, try this out. Thanks for watching.